All right, welcome to week 6. This week we are addressing religious terrorism, which can take on either dissident or establishment overtones. The opening viewpoint discusses the pathway that a Jordanian terrorist by the name of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi took from petty crime to religious extremism. This has been an often traveled pathway. What does Zarqawi's pathway to radicalism tell us about violence in the name of religious faith? Violence invoked in the name of religion has an ancient lineage, and it has become a prominent element of new terrorism in contemporary politics. Martin characterizes a lot of religiously inspired terrorism as having an idiosyncratic quality. Why does he characterize religious terrorism that way? To me, an interesting aspect of this chapter is Martin's discussion of jihad as a religious motivation. A lot of Americans misunderstand the role of jihad, the role that it plays within Islam. They tend to think of it in terms of how Christians think of holy war. And Martin and I actually agree with him, think that invites further misunderstanding of how radical Islam has adopted extreme interpretations of jihad. We definitely need to make sure we understand both the meaning of jihad for Muslims and why that particular concept has been prone to appropriation by radicalized Muslims. We need to be aware that religiously inspired terrorism is not a Muslim monopoly. Of course, you had the Ismaili sect of Muslims that was responsible for creating the Order of Assassins in the medieval period, which I guess is now famous as a video game. But the Zealot Sicarii were Jewish extremists that also engaged in very terrorist-like violence. And of course, the Christian Crusaders routinely engaged in massacres of Muslims during the Crusades and justified a lot of their violence with their war cry, Deus vult, which is, God commands it or God wills it. There is a lot of ground to cover this week, so let's make sure we do our reading. And of course, always use the ancillary materials to help you organize your study. I think the study guides are particularly effective. The PowerPoint is just so-so. I haven't had the time to revise the publisher's PowerPoints, and publishers' PowerPoints are generally pretty mediocre, I have to say. We have 3 assignments due this week. In addition to the weekly quiz and forum on Chapter 6, we also have your second short writing assignment, which is an article review of David C. Rappaport's Fear and Trembling, Terrorism in 3 Religious Traditions. The article is posted on the Week 6 course resources link, and the directions can be found both on the article itself and in the instructions for the Dropbox. All right, let's have a great week.